Hello, welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. Harvard, back in the news again. Oh boy. The U.S. is taking Harvard to court again over race in admissions. All right, a very interesting topic, and we'll get to it in just a second. But just a quick reminder, anytime you hear us talking about something on the podcast, you can always find the article at thecollegeinvestor.com that we take the podcast from. There, you're going to find all the information you need. You can dive deeper, find all the resources and links you could possibly want to know. And also, we're on social media. Pretty much anywhere you are, you'll find us, all your favorite channels. Just search for The College Investor. Ask us anything. We'd love to get to know you and help you wherever you are in your money journey. But let's talk about Harvard for a second. The U.S. Department of Justice has filed yet another lawsuit against Harvard U, arguing that the university has unlawfully withheld admissions records needed for federal civil rights compliance review. The complaint, which we have linked inside the article, just in case you'd want to read it, filed February 13th, 2026 in federal court in Massachusetts, seeks declaratory and injunctive relief to compel Harvard to provide applicant-level admissions data and internal communications related to race and diversity policies. The government is not seeking monetary damages or revocation of federal funds. That's important to note. At the center of the dispute is compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race in programs receiving federal financial assistance. Post-Supreme Court showdown. Oh boy. The lawsuit traces its roots all the way back to 2023 Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard College. All right. In that ruling, the court held that Harvard's undergrad admissions program violated Title VI by considering race in a manner that amounted to impermissible racial balancing. Following that decision, the Justice Department opened compliance reviews in April 2025 into Harvard College, Harvard Law School, Harvard Medical School, according to the complaint. Federal officials requested these things: applicant-level admissions data for the past 5 academic years, test scores, SAT, ACT, LSAT, MCAT, GPAs, essays, admissions outcomes, all that stuff, internal ratings and holistic review factors, and also documents and correspondence related to race, ethnicity, diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI, and the Supreme Court ruling. The department said it needed this information to determine whether Harvard had stopped considering race in admissions decisions. Harvard produced several batches of documents in May 2025, but according to the complaint, those productions largely consisted of publicly available materials and aggregated stats, not individualized applicant-level data that they wanted. So the Justice Department alleges Harvard actually failed to meet extended deadlines in September and October of 2025 and has not produced any materials since May 30th, 2025. The government argues that this refusal violates both federal regulations and contractual obligations tied to a Justice Department grant. All right, let's look at the legal basis for the lawsuit now. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act states that no person shall be discriminated against on the ground of race, color, or national origin in programs receiving federal financial aid. Harvard is a recipient of federal funding. According to the complaint, the university received $686 million in federal research funding in 2024. That's 11% of its annual operating budget. It currently holds over $2.6 billion in active federal grants. One active Justice Department grant totals $654,000, by the way, and includes compliance obligations under Title VI. Federal regs require grant recipients to submit timely, complete, and accurate compliance reports and permit access to relevant records during investigations. The Justice Department alleges that by failing to provide applicant-level data, Harvard has breached those regulatory and contractual obligations. Importantly, the lawsuit explicitly states that the government does not accuse Harvard of any discriminatory conduct in this filing. Instead, it seeks an order requiring Harvard to produce the requested records. Here's what this means for students and families. So, for families navigating the admissions process, this case might feel a little bit distant, right? It's Harvard, for crying out loud. But it reflects some broader changes that could affect how selective universities like Harvard actually evaluate their applicants. Since the 2023 Supreme Court decision, colleges nationwide have revised their policies to remove explicit consideration of race. Many institutions have shifted focus towards socioeconomic background, first-generation status, geographic diversity, and essay prompts that allow students to describe personal experiences, including experiences related to race, without actually formally using race as a selective factor. If the Justice Department ultimately obtains applicant-level data and concludes that Harvard remains compliant, the case may end as a records dispute. That's all. If, though, the review were to uncover violations, consequences could escalate for sure. Under Title VI, the federal government has the authority to suspend or terminate federal funding altogether, which I think is why Harvard's kind of, kicking the can down the road a little bit. While that step is rare, of course, and not currently being sought after, the financial stakes are significant given Harvard's research funding levels. For prospective students, the more immediate impact is just policy clarity. The government's aggressive enforcement posture signals continued scrutiny of these elite universities' admissions processes. Families might see these things: increased transparency demands around all the admissions criteria, more documentation of how holistic review systems operate, continued legal challenges to race-related practices nationwide. Admissions rates at Harvard remain highly competitive, of course. According to the complaint, Harvard admits 4.2% of applicants. Harvard Law School, 9.2%, and Harvard Med School, only over 3%. In such selective environments, even small policy adjustments can have a massive impact.